back to the One Celtic fans' view. There was sad news yesterday. We'll get onto the breaking transfer news for Celtic fans in just a minute, but we have to take time to think about Denis Law. Denis Law was an absolute legend for Scotland. Started off his career from a young lad up in Aberdeen and moved to Huddersfield Town for a grand total of 55 grand he was sold for to Torino. He was then bought by Manchester United for £115,000. When you think about that, that's the kind of money that Kieran Tierney is on a weekly basis. Yes, 115 grand. When you put Denis Law into perspective as a player, he would be on the region of about 500 grand a week when it comes to current financial situations at clubs. And he was that good a player. And Man United put out the statement last night on behalf of the family that he had sadly passed away. So our thoughts are with the family and everyone connected with the Laws. Absolute legend for Scotland, and I can remember him as a youth. But we all move on. It is about Celtic. There is some breaking news regarding to Celtic this morning, and it is a transfer that I did say may not happen because Ajax were in the way. Now, the bad news this morning when it comes to Raul Moro suffered an injury last night, an untimely injury that could affect his immediate future. The Real Valladolid winger has fractured his shoulder. By the looks of it, yeah, it looks like he's fractured his shoulder. Spanish player. I never watched the game last night. I would have watched that game, considering as a winger that was being linked with Celtic. But the media in Spain are still saying that it was Ajax were in the forefront for the 22-year-old. He will undergo scans this weekend. He was going to hospital this morning to see, after the game, and he's going to get some scans this morning to see how bad the injury is. Now, with that being said, the fact that he is a fantastic player. Will Celtic go back in for him in the summer? He was actually playing good by all accounts. I watched the video footage of it just before it happened. And it was a bad tackle. You've got to say it wasn't a nice tackle that took Raul out the game, and he goes down. But we've already had a player at Celtic. We have had a player that's got a bit of a dodgy shoulder, and I don't think that Brendan Rodgers will be in too much of a hurry. So does that mean that all attention now is all about Lou Barry? Celtic have made inquiries. They have put a proposal forward, which says to me that Lou Barry is he's the preferred option. He was always the preferred option. The fact that we could get him for $5 million plus $5 million add-ons. When you were looking at the Raul one, were Celtic really going to fight it out with Ajax for a player for $8.5 million plus add-ons? I think that Brendan Rodgers, the fact that we have this new scout in, no matter his age, is looking for talent in the English market, at the lower leagues of the English market. But it's sad news for Raul Moro, and I hope this could basically, if he has broken his shoulder, it could basically, it'll rule him out for any transfer. The player quickly went to the grounds. He was aware of the damage he had suffered. The injury came as the Catalan winner was an impromptu moment, it goes on to say, but it looks like he's got a broken collarbone and would be out for around about 3 months, which rules him out of this transfer window, and the club were trying to cash in on the player because they're second bottom of the La Liga, and they're a certainty for going down along with Valencia. But it's one that Celtic it could have been. It doesn't matter, because I think that the Lou Barry situation is one that I did say there was more chance of that one coming off. Morning, Braz from Albier. Hope you're okay. I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm hopefully heading up towards your way next week. If not, it'll definitely be the week after. I think Villa have KB. It's a difficult one for Brendan. I mean, everyone knows that he's in the market for a winger, and it's a fluid transfer market right now, where we're waiting on dominoes falling into place before we can make a move. I mean, obviously we can't let Luis Palma leave to go to Spain. There's still talk about him getting his move to Spain, although not with the club that he was linked with. There is still talk of him moving to Spain, but Celtic will not let Luis Palma leave Celtic until they have a winger in. Now, ultimately, if that happens in the last couple of days of the window, Luis Palma is going to be rushing about trying to get a plane over to Spain to get to the team wherever he's heading to. If it is another winger that's been ruled out by Celtic before he had this injury, well, nothing changes as far as Celtic are concerned. Nothing changes at all. And it's all about the game today anyway. And I think that Brendan Rodgers won't be overly concerned, because he will know the target that he really... And if Raul was a player that was of interest and that they were ready to make, and they had in their sights... Maybe Brendan Rodgers will be disappointed, and maybe it'll be another one of those windows where Brendan Rodgers will go, "You're absolutely having a laugh," because the same happened to a player in the summer, doesn't it? We're looking at Baz, look at the video I sent you, which on Facebook. I think I had a quick look at it. Did you send it recently? But anyway, it is all about Celtic, and it's all about Lou Barry. The fact that Celtic have made inquiries about Lou Barry. There's news coming out this morning as well that it looks like Villa may give him... they're going to look at him, Lou Barry, and give him some first team football. The irony, isn't it? As soon as Celtic come looking at a player that hasn't been getting any game time, they then decide, and it's got a little bit of the Adam Ida situation going about it now, isn't it? Anytime that Celtic come looking at a player that isn't a first team regular, the manager goes, "Wait a minute, I'm going to have a look at this player in action." If Celtic, and then they're going to try and bump the price up. Anyway, Celtic take on Carmarthen later on this evening, late afternoon kickoff, call it whatever. It's the fourth round of the Scottish Cup, and it's the big guns come in. Celtic come into the cup that we own. Yes, it is our cup. And say what you like, it is our cup. We have won it. There is it. It's there. 42nd time. 42 times we've won the cup. We want to make it 43. We got the League Cup from 21 to 22 this season, and we're on the road to winning the league once again, and it looks like that we're going to get our 55th title and our 43rd Scottish Cup. We'd finish the season quite nicely. Celtic do entertain, and it's a fantastic competition, the Scottish Cup. It is a fantastic competition. I never put up did I put up the image? I never put up that image, did I? That was the incident where Raul was injured, and it was quite serious, as you see on the pitch. So yeah, that was what happened last night with the player, and we hope he's okay. You can see that everyone's concerned. Nobody likes to see a player going down with any type of injury that can keep him out for a few months. I mean, players want to play football, and in Spain, I mean, they will make sure that he's fine. But anyway, and then the Dennis Law one. Dennis Law, the first Scotsman to play in Italy. And when you put things into perspective about the wages that Dennis Law was on, and the ultimate talent that he had, for a player, I mean, there's not often that you'll get clubs that have a big rivalry like Man City and Man United have come together. But Dennis Law is one that kind of went from one side of the city to the other, doesn't he? Dennis Law is a player that he did in his earlier days have one season at Man City before going to Italy, and then coming back and going to Manchester United, where he became an absolute legend. Anyway, that's enough about Dennis Law. Let's get back to the Kilmarnock game tonight, Baz. It is all about the Scottish Cup. Brendan Rodgers has a 100% winning record against Derek McInnes. Derek McInnes, who has been named as one of the people that the people want back after Derek McInnes turned them down a few years ago, and they're now talking about he's the next manager. But anyway, who cares about them? It's an early evening kickoff live on Premier Sports. Celtic take on Kilmarnock. Promises to be an interesting game. The Kelly boss is looking at the ultimate old. He'll be looking to emulate what Tony Docherty did. Can Kilmarnock play in a similar vein and a similar style? Can they play attacking football? It's a cup game. They will think back to last season when they beat Celtic in the early rounds of the cup that we didn't win last season. Will history repeat itself? No, because it's at Celtic Park, and I think that at Celtic Park we are unstoppable. We're just unstoppable. I just think that we are completely unstoppable at home, and I don't think that anyone domestically will get anywhere near us. But anyway, Kilmarnock are coming to town. I don't even want to talk about the Dundee game. It was that bad. We were bad, but Dundee were absolutely brilliant. Can it happen today? I don't think so. Anyway, Brendan Rodgers does have a little bit of who plays today. The Celtic support will hope that it's the perfect warm-up for the Champions League. We need to win this, and then we need to win these. These are the two games. These two games right now, this week, you can always say that the next game is a big game. These two games will mark our season. A success or a failure in some eyes of some fans. If we lose today and go out the Scottish Cup, there's no treble. It's as simple as that. And it takes a shine off of what's been a fantastic season. If we then lose to young boys at Celtic Park, there's a possibility that we may not finish in the top 24 of the Champions League. This is how important these two games are this week. And let it be said, the Celtic fans, when it comes to the crunch and it comes to the big games, and when they know it really matters, when it really, really matters, that's when the Celtic fans get right behind this team and will do their utmost to push them forward. I expect the noise to be absolutely epic in the midweek game for young boys, and I expect it to be even just a little bit tad over exuberance today, with the fact that it is a late kick-off and lots of people have had a good drink before it. Kilmarnock are the perfect warm-up, I think, because when you look at it, McInnes loves to try and have a go at us, and it'll get the players back into fighting mode. Will the players be up for it? Brendan Rodgers says that James Forrest is the only player that is not fit for the game. That means that, do you bring in Kuhn? Or do you bring him in as a second half substitute? Does he go with the two strikers up front again against Kilmarnock at Celtic Park? It would be interesting to see Brendan Rodgers do that. I mean, he has done the two striker thing and used him as a kind of a winger, but Dyson Maida will be back. Kuhn is fit. Will he be back this afternoon? Every single player will be on the park today at some point. Brendan Rodgers will make as much changes as he needs to do, keeping in mind the game for the Champions League, because let's face it, we need to make sure that everyone's 100% fit for the Champions League game. Both games are must win. Give me your score predictions in the comment section. Now we'll go jump into the comments and see who is all in. Boy for Benny Offa. Defo take back Kuhn from the first minute. Drop Ida at the bench. That's an interesting one. Lorna's been waiting on her cocktail. It's roasting hot. You see, she's still on holiday. In the Maldives. Kaiser's in the house. Jim F is in the house. Dave Morton's in the house. Mr. Quinn is in the house. Lanky's in the house. I'll be at the game tonight. He's going to go for 3-1 Celtic. 3-1 Celtic. Lorna's rubbing it in. Boy from Benny Offers going for 4-0 Celtic. And Lanky's going for 3-1. Patrick is going for 4-1 Celtic. Lorna's going for 3-0. Go get the game won early and then rest players 4-0, says Francis Lester. I don't think it's going to be one of those games. Sarah says, why am I so nervous about these games? They're the most important games, especially the Champions League game. Today's game, it's the ref, as always, makes me more nervous, and the players' fatigue. I think that player fatigue, and I think that when you look at it, the SPFL and the Scottish FA have done nothing to help Scottish football at this time of year. And people will say, well, teams of other clubs will say, well, why should we help Celtic? Why should we help the South Clonians? They've got more money than us. They're the ones that want to play in these games. But I think when you look at how many games there has been, it's been a bit of a disaster. Play your strongest team for the start, says Raymond. And Jerry Cassidy's going for 3-0 Celtic. Richard Smith's going for 4-0. Paul Bear's going for 6-0. Crazy score. Lanky is going for Casper and goals. Alistair Johnston, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Liam Scales to start. Taylor, McCowan, Paulo, Engels, Kyogo, Kenny and Yang. What a team that is. Lanky's just put it there. What a team. I'm going to... what a team that is. Let's get that at the bottom of the screen. And we'll get the Raul one. I always thought that the Raul one was a bit... The fact that the Spanish media were so convinced that he was going to go... There we go, Lanky, you've got your name up in lights. This is the team that Lanky thinks will start. Casper, Alistair Johnston, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Scales, Taylor, McCowan, Luke McCowan, Paulo Bernardo, even though Paulo Bernardo's been a bit off the pace, Arnie Engels, Kyogo, Kenny, Johnny Kenny, Yang. And this is the team that I'm taking no responsibility for that team whatsoever. I'm taking no responsibility for that team, because if somebody comes on later and goes, hey, fucking down with that team, you fucking no end. Get your teeth back in your front. But anyway, that's the team that Lanky thinks. Andrew says, need to get back to clean sheet Casper. Yeah, we do, don't we? It's been quite a season when we've thought that Casper was going to go quite a way through the season, but there have been inquiries in Celtic Park to all the goals that they've shipped in, and we need to be shipping them out. Dave Morton says it's going to be a 3-1 type game. Jazz the Man says it's going to be 2-1. Kelly just signed the Scotland fullback. Have they? I don't care who they sign. It's all about what Celtic to do. Did they sign the right back from Liverpool? Morning, you sexy fiends. I think Kelly will make a game of it. It'll be 2-1, if not 5-1. Yeah. A 5-1. Will Celtic, the Highlander. I hope that's a good channel with a name like that. I'm going to go on it. Give me 2 seconds. Go to channel. No content. You need to come up with some decent content for that, mate. It's a cracker of a name. The Highlander. Takes me back to when I was in Ibiza. Anyway, Norman is going for 4-0 Celtic. Mark Stoddart says, good morning. He's going for 2-1 or 5-1. Thomas is going for 2-1 Celtic tonight. Benny Offa. Boy for Benny Offa. Are you over here or are you back home, mate? Casper, Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Trusty, Taylor, Calmack, Bernardo, Engels, Kuhn, Itati, Kyogo. Job done first half, and then sub all the players in the sense. My Spanish missus is having a laugh now. You pronounced her hometown. Oh, Jesus. Yes, mate, the Liverpool kid. Good morning, Baz, from the Gorbals. Yeah, the Gorbals. Jazz the Man said Ramsey. They signed the young boy Ramsey, did they? Interesting. We need a performance and a good victory. Anyway, today is all about the fact that it is the Scottish Cup. Celtic player Raul has been ruled out with a broken shoulder. This was him last night getting taken off the pitch, and it's going to be one of those days, I think, at Celtic Park where everyone will have had a good drink beforehand. If your bus is going through at the early time, at the normal time that the bus would go through, pace yourself, lads. Pace yourself, and have a fantastic day wherever you are if you're at the game. Michael Jenkins goes for 2-0, central defender to get on the goal sheet. That means we need to start scoring from corners again, and will that happen today? Why have a scout for the lower English leagues? Most successful players haven't come from there, have they? Yeah. MK Dons ring a bell? Anyway, that's a good team. Hi, Baz for Waterside Street. Myself. That's been done and dusted this morning. Big breaking news this morning is a Celtic transfer target. I didn't think he was going to go to Celtic. The Spanish media have all been saying that it was more chance of him going to Ajax. I think that the Brendan Rodgers would be laughing at the fact that we're trying to get Lou Barry and not Raul. But anyway, that's all for this morning. There will be a live video an hour and a half before the game today. Thank you to everyone who has watched the video this morning. I'm on the wrong screen here. No, not there, it's there. And I shall see you this afternoon. And on that note, have an absolutely fantastic day to all you Celtic fans all around the world.
Lit. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to the lit. Roll up to the party, roll up to